Now, he helped create the National Inventors Hall of Fame in the US, which honors those responsible for great technological advances that made progress possible.
Well, as the first director there, Dr. Ed Sobey met and interviewed the world's most famous inventors, including those who developed the MRI, the CAT scan, and cardiac pacemakers.
And it was then that he found out that while these inventors were not the best students in school, they turned out to be the most successful inventors.
Dr. Sobey then incorporated what he learned from them into a program called Kids Invent to help kids succeed. He was in the studio to tell us more about the program and his passion for creativity and invention.
And the interview was started by asking him how he got interested in teaching kids.
Toys are the way that kids learn about the world, and so it's the best avenue to get a kid interested in learning about science.
Do you think it's suited for every age, though? I mean, we play toys since a young age, but how do you get them interested and to understand the concept as you're trying to from a very, young age?
Well, children learn by playing, and they play mostly with toys, and that goes on up through people entering graduate school. We do the same activities like building the electric car with a child in elementary school, and middle school, and high school, and college, and graduate school, and there's learning at every level because it's a real activity. They get to express what they already know and then get to ask questions about what they don't know.
So you've brought in a few toys this morning. I mean, this is the electric car.
Yes.
So, for example, this one, I mean, if it's a simple version, I guess, of what we see in normal
toy cars.
What is the lesson that one would learn from this?
They can learn by building this about a quarter of the physical science curriculum standards for the entire year. They will learn in building this, plus they also learn the methods of science, because this is an experimentation. I don't tell them how to build the car. I give them the materials. I say, can you guys build an electric car? And kids say, oh yeah, we can do that. I said, okay, we'll go do it. And of course, then the kids say, well, tell me how. I'm not going to tell you how. You have to figure it out for yourself. So they're actually doing science. And that's what we're really promoting, is kids doing science, not reading science, listening to science, watching science. Kids doing science. Kids in school do not do science. Here they do science, and they learn very quickly.
Well, break it down for me then. Let's say I hand, these components to my son, and I tell him, okay, I want you to learn science, I want you to put this together, but don't you need to start with teaching them the concepts?
No.
Plus, minus,
No. Dessert first. Dessert first. Give them the good stuff first. This is where they'll learn. The other stuff is memorization. That's not effective in learning. Yes, they can pass the exam, but they will fail the exam of life. When I give this to a science teacher, the same project, the science teacher has no advantage over a 6-, 7-, 8-year-old child. They may have a degree in science. They are no better at building the car because everything is memorization. If I give it to them and they build the car, now they understand electricity, friction, motion, acceleration, velocity. We're going right across the physical science spectrum.
They may not understand it in those terms, but they're doing it because the trial and error. They say, I'll put this, and therefore this spins that.
And we'll teach everything they need to know about electricity in about 1.5 minutes by playing with this, and they'll never forget it the rest of their lives. All I have to do is say, oh, that's polarity. Oh, that reverse the polarity and it goes the other way. So the only thing they're lacking is a vocabulary, and we can add that later. That's not important. What's important is they learn, and they also love to learn. They learn that they enjoy the process. Instead of kids saying, I hate science, they say, I love science, I want to do more.
Because they can actually see it, right in front of their eyes.
And they own it. It's their car. I didn't tell them how to do it. They could have made it a triangle, a square, an oblong. They could have put the motor anywhere. They did it, their project. My start was National Inventors Hall of Fame. I was the founding director. I met all the great inventors of the world. And I asked them, why are you a great inventor? And they told me. And then I'd go home at night and I'd work with my 2 sons, and I saw the same motivation in my sons that I saw in the inventor of the MRI, the CAT scan, the cardiac pacemaker, exactly the same. We have bottled that in this approach to learning science, making kids inventors. And when we make them an inventor, then they own the project, they want to know more. Instead of saying, is this on the exam? They say, I want my car to go faster.
So you're really just trying to create the interest to learn, and they sort of experiment for themselves. I mean,
Yes.
for example, science is in our everyday lives. We talk about a more technological style here, but you've got another simple toy which has to do with straws.
Yes.
Show us how that works, and again, tell us, I mean, for example, what would that teach us?
This is a wonderful activity to get kids doing science. We showed them how to make this because it would take them a while to figure it out on their own. It's a big straw. I went into a coffee store and swiped a couple, and a regular straw, and just taped one end, and we show them, boom, it goes. A good one will go 20 meters.
Yeah.
Right.
But the first time they do it, it will only go 2 or 3 meters. So they have to observe, which kids are not used to, adults aren't either, and report, oh, my rocket went to the left. Then I ask them, why did it go to the left? I don't know. Well, there's something on the rocket that forced it to go to the left. We're teaching them the basics. Observe, report, associate cause with effect, make one change. Nowhere in school is that done. Everybody is such a rush to tell them potential energy, kinetic energy, and give them all the terms. They never get down to the basics of observing, reporting, associating cause and effect.
So I guess in a way you're asking them the questions. They have to
Yes.
find their own answers. You
That's
don't
right.
give it to them.
That's right. I keep
Feed
asking
them.
questions. And rather than telling them something, I ask a question. Your brain does not work. You don't start thinking until you hear a question. If I give you an answer, the brain stops working. I want the brain working, so I ask a question and I give them a challenge.
Could it be because of our impatient nature, of our instant society, that we're looking for the answers right away and not the process of getting there?
I think that certainly contributes to it, the fact that you can go online and get everything in an instant. But if we want scientists and engineers and inventors and also artists and musicians to be creative and to really make the new products and services of the next millennium, they need to have the patience to watch what's going on around the world and to take that in and then be creative with it. And if we're in such a rush to tell them everything, they're never going to be able to create things.
Okay, well, point taken. So in order to teach our kids in the manner that you have just spoken of, how do we enlighten the adults to use that method?
That's the biggest problem, because the teachers and parents are in such a rush to get it to them. And what they have to do is stop, ask the question. It doesn't matter if you don't know the answer. It's the question that's important, not the answer, because the question drives thinking. The answer stops the thinking.
I guess the hard part is getting they're afraid, I guess, that sometimes maybe the kids won't clue it into what is the actual exam question.
The kids know exactly what interests them. They know what they know. They know what they're capable of learning. All we have to do is give them challenges and give them questions, and they will rise to the occasion.
What is it that parents will have to bear in mind if they want to do this? I mean, besides throwing a question at them, you also have to guide them along.
Well, to some degree, you guide them by providing them materials, by providing them questions, and listening to them. You know, not be in such a rush to say, we're going to go here, we're going to go there. Listen to what the child has interest in, and wherever the child is interested, encourage that growth and just keep going and try to expose them to new things. It is the interaction with new people, new concepts, new ideas that spawns the creative thought process.
Listen to what the child has to say. You know, I guess kids are sort of like little adults at the end of the day. You know, a lot of parents, I won't say who, but, you know, they kind of make their kids take ballet and piano and all of that when they're not interested in that.
They have to have a personal interest. So when a kid is curious about something, they learn better because you're excited about the topic and you discover on your own rather than just having to memorize the facts. Well, that was Dr. Ed Sobey, co-founder of Kids Invent and an advocate for creativity and learning science. If you'd like to check out his program, you can do so at this website. It's www.kidsinventasia.org.
All right, we are going to head for another short break.
Yep.
But still to come, we've got plenty, so do stay with us.
We'll see you in just 2 minutes.